Our next session is going to be with Ravi Purohit. He is the Senior Vice President and the Global Head of the ERP business at Birlasoft. He is a graduate of IIT Kharagpur 92 and followed up with a degree from IIM Bangalore in 96. His leadership experience includes global P&L, delivery, product and service inception, pre-sales and business operations in IT services and IT products. He has previously worked at Color Tokens, Wipro and TCS. He has had experience in many verticals. It includes retail, CPG, food and beverage, cybersecurity. We've been hearing a lot about AI, but we should not forget that there's a lot of infrastructure that goes behind it. So today Ravi is here to tell us about what he thinks is going to be the future of enterprise platforms. Welcome, Ravi. That's the clicker.
Wow, the lights are too much. Can you hear me? All right, so I just met my senior here, so now I'm very comfortable. Otherwise, I was very nervous and I could not sleep last night. All that is not true. I'm fearless. I've been speaking to audiences of 3,000 plus. So what touches me the most is what they remember after a month. And last year, I had spoken at an event at IIT Kanpur where I was talking to young entrepreneurs. And after that speech, one lady came and said that after listening to you, I was about to drop my education, but I'm going to continue it. And that kind of touched me, that if I can create that impact, very nice. Now, there are three things that has helped me, reach where I am. And while studying at IIT, the love for science, maths, all this is there. But there are two more characteristics that I could develop as I grew in my career. One is being a sports person, and second is being an artist. And to be successful, I always look at things which are amazing in each of these fields, right? So if I look at a sports person, I always wonder when the ball falls on a line and the decision goes in my favor, will I reject the victory or will I give it away? And sometimes these are tough choices to make, and that's the kind of discussions that somebody spoke about in AI. As an artist, I always, I have dabbled in music, I have dabbled in paints, I can see the lines beyond what they end. And there is one thing that amazes me is good artists, good musicians can also listen to something. And that is, there's a beat of silence. They can understand the beat of silence, right? So that's something that is interesting. As a scientist and mathematician, I would say there are two numbers that amaze me, 0 and infinity. And they are amazing because we can't see 0 and we can't see infinity often, right? And as a business person, in my role, I'm a salesperson, I'm a creator, I'm a delivery person. I'm also somebody who helps customer develop business case. Birlasoft uses technology to make its customers successful. That's what I've done throughout my life. And some of these traits is what I have picked up. If I were to foresee future, if I can understand what is 0, what is infinity, what is power of silence, the silent beat, and the decision making when a ball falls on a line, right? So these are certain things that I carry to keep it simple. And when I was asked to talk about, to talk to this audience, I picked a topic related to my role at Birlasoft. I had the enterprise platform unit. We support our customers through solutions which are both mature and maturing, solutions like SAP, Oracle, NetSuite, and so on, Salesforce. We also look at upcoming solutions, right? So that's something that we do. What am I going to talk about here, right? See, if you look at the world of technology, I would always look at it from the eyes of my customers and eyes of their customers. What has happened is in the current generations, people don't want to plan. They want things to come without planning. And that trend is what our customers are working on. And as you develop technology solution, you should always look at the future consumers. They want solutions where they don't need to plan, right? If you want to go from here to New Jersey, you should not have to need to plan, right? Those solutions will be important. That trend is coming into businesses where the leaders are expecting that consumer trends may shift. Is our company aligned to be able to address that shift, right? So the power of zero is important in all elements. Similarly, a lot of companies don't want to own assets. Similarly, in the world of cybersecurity, the concept of zero trust. So the power of zero is becoming quite significant, right, in the world of business. The next one is the power of infinity. Somebody talked about infinite amount of connections, but more than that, if you were to look at from the world of consumers, and you yourself being a consumer, you want choices, you want configurability. Now that configurability has become all pervasive in the business functions that we support. If you're looking at simple configurability of product, that is a lot of us understand it. The world of CPQ, that configuration, price and quote, that is very much prevalent in the tech industry, but that has come down all the way to manufacturing. Can my production lines be configurable? Can my transportation be configurable, right? So there is indefinite amount of configuration that is expected. There are indefinite amount of connections that the technology is expected to support. And then that power of infinity is what the future successful companies will be able to address, right? If they can give choices to their customers, if they give choices to their business, then they will be successful. What is the answer? Answer also lies in the fact that you should study, what are the risks associated with technology. And I look at, when I look at artificial intelligence, in my engineering, my coding was in Prolog, and that was in artificial intelligence. And I that time used to say artificially intelligent, but really dumb. Right? That is what we used to joke about. But the main part here is, if you look at, world is not just technology. There's a lot of things in the world. So I study this top 10 risks by World Economic Forum, and they publish it for the 2 years and the 10 years. And I look at the common patterns, right? And I have taken the risks which are in the societies, which are in the geopolitical era, and in the technology. Specifically in the technology, the top 2 risks have been consistent in the last 3 to 4 years. Cybersecurity is one of them, and misinformation is second of them. And the new one, which is cropped up, is fear of wrong outcomes from the technology, primarily artificial intelligence. So that's what leaders of countries, leaders of big companies are talking about, which the World Economic Forum has kind of mentioned in the report. Now, why is this important? Because if you look at the first 2, they were consumer-oriented trend, how the businesses are shifting towards minimal planning, maximum choices. And what are the risks here? The risks here are that whatever technology you apply, there are misgivings, there are doubts, right? That people carry, including your own consumers. What is the solution that the companies are adopting? Companies are not taking a complete rebirth, but they are significantly transforming themselves digitally. They all want to be digital across their processes, and then that choice is an inevitable choice that they have taken, right? So whether you look at platforms, whether you look at products, what the companies are trying to do is incrementally improve their overall digital processes, right? That's what the companies are trying to do. What I would like to also call about is, it's not just the processes, it's the people as well, and it's also the identities. So enterprise identities, when we look at chatbot, people have looked at it as a technology solution. But if you were a marketeer, are there any marketeers here? Marketers, right? So you would also agree that a chatbot represents the brand of the company on their website. So if a chatbot comes across slightly different than what the brand promises, there's a dissonance, and that's something that they watch out for. So there are a lot of nuances to this when they are doing digital transformation, both internally and for their customers. Now, these are the things that enterprise platforms are looking for. I've just posed some questions. Some of you are CTOs, some of you are CIOs, some of you are, business people. So if you were to ask a teenager, if you're a CEO of your company or a founder of your company, that how would they buy your product, whatever product you're making? If they are able to explain it, I think you will get the answer to what kind of changes you need in your organization. Similarly, if you ask a student how they will transform their company, how they will design the systems, you will get the answers, because what they are thinking today is how the technology is shifting. And there is a real evidence of this. Historically, the technologies were leading the world from enterprise to the consumer world. Now it is reverse. Whatever has happened in the consumer world has actually come to the enterprise world. So you will have noticed that a lot of us have started using the mobile phones for our personal lives much ahead of the professional lives. How many of you have approved your purchase orders or leave requests on your phone before you started doing some texting on your phone, or doing Uber or any other app that you use? It's exactly reverse. We've used the technology in the consumer world first, and then it is in the enterprise world. So those changes are happening. So please be, what I would request you to do is, if you are in these roles, go and ask your, people who are a little bit naive in technology, because people who are literate will give you buzzwords, but people who are layman or people who are very new into technology world, they will give you the real answers of how the world is transforming and what digital transformation really means. What are the CEO expectations from the technology? They want ability to standardize, but not just standardize. Standardize the processes, but give flexibility to their consumers and their employees. They want ability to integrate information across multiple systems that they have, and this is where the challenge lies, right? The larger companies, the larger the company, more difficult it is for them to be nimble. And we have customers both small and large, and we have seen it. There are still large companies who are able to change very fast, very well. And there is one common characteristic that those companies carry: they decide quickly, and they decide and they move. That's a characteristic that we have seen. The last 2 points are important. They are pretty close to what my business line does. Often, as people advance in their career, initially they think about inputs. Did I come to office on time? Did I wear the right dress for this meeting? And so on and so forth. But as they grow, they start measuring themselves on the deliverables that they create. But your business leaders are not looking at your deliverables. They are essentially looking at your outcomes, right? So each of the CXOs, in whichever customers that we look at, they really don't ask us that when are you going live, right? When are you implementing the system? They really ask us that, is this going to help me improve my revenue? Is it going to help me reduce my cost, right? So that's the kind of change that we are seeing in the world of enterprise platforms. And that's important, because as senior people, and some of you who are young and getting into the technology world, must remember that it is not the output that matters, it's the outcome that matters to your business leadership. The second point is also important. Often we get carried away in this myth of cloud, data, AI, and obviously the processes around it, right? The enterprise processes. And we get into mining processes, mining data, mining answers. But really, if you look at everybody that works today, including you all, when you wake up, you never think of data, you never think of process, you never think of where the data lies. Invariably, you think of what actions you will do today. And everybody, whether it's the junior most person in a company or the senior most, they always have a to-do list for a day. They think of the actions. So enterprise platforms, as like SAP, Oracle, and so on, they are expected to give those actions to the customers through which you can drive the outcomes. So that is the biggest shift that has happened. If you look at past world, all these platforms were focused on process standardization, system of records. All these are done and dusted. That is table stakes. what is important is, are these going to give you the outcomes that the business needs, right? Are these going to give you those actions that will give you the outcomes that the business needs? So that is a change that we are driving at Birlasoft with our customers as well. What have we done? Some examples, I'm not naming the customers because it's also, sensitive to that. Something as basic as, where are my products and can I ship them, right? It's a big problem for a sales guy if they don't know whether the delivery team will deliver. And this is a company which is into a medical devices, company where they are selling to the surgeons. So if the surgeons need some products of theirs, how can that ordering process be automated, right? And there is the same principles that I talked about. There is no planning. It's not that you're going to ask the surgeon what's going to happen, what will this patient need. To some extent, there is a planning, but it is moving more and more towards ability to respond to those needs very quickly, right? So we've implemented those solutions, on our platforms. Inventory reconciliation is another big challenge that we see in our customers, because as they have grown, they have acquired companies, they have divested companies, they have consolidated their supply chains, and so on and so forth, right? So what has happened because of that, they have a lot of systems that talk about where the data is and where the product is. And there is a huge gap of information. And if you take this organization and apply AI, you're essentially going to give 10 different answers to 10 different people. Right? What we have seen is that companies that have figured out how do you, without creating a third system, how do you create a visibility across these systems and connect them seamlessly? That degree of inventory reconciliation in a real life basis is what we've been able to establish. Similarly, I already talked about the mobile purchase order approvals. Why is it important? This is something that I realized when we were supporting a company which is setting up one of the very large airports in India. It's a Swiss company, who's establishing an airport in India. Airports are like projects. You have to deal with governments, you have to deal with contractors, you have to deal with employees, you have to deal with a lot of purchase, on-the-spot decision, for pricing. And enterprise platforms were built for laptops, PCs, and so on. And as things have gone to mobile applications, mobile purchase order approval became very important. It may sound very basic, but it is such an important feature for that customer, because it is impacting their business outcome of creating that airport on time. So these are the kind of solutions that we have developed as the customers are driving the digital transformation. What are we doing? We are focusing on high growth companies. The way we look at our platform, we call it ERP Next. We are looking at platform that can help customer become digital. Second, that can drive productivity dollars from within their enterprise functions. And third, it is not about just simple user experience, but the productivity of the user to be able to generate those actions. What are we looking at from any transformation that we do? We look at what are the outcomes that the customers are looking for, and that derives the outputs that we are going to create for them, right? So that's the way we look at business problem solving. How we do that? There are two steps. One, we don't go with a solution in mind before understanding the problem. So we look at all the enterprise platforms and develop the solution which is enriching over whatever capability that we have. And lastly, we also look at all the AI which is coming in within the platforms, right? That's something that we are able to apply. So I hope this was useful for you. As Birlasoft, we are leaders in the IT technology, such as enterprise platforms, digital data, the underlying cloud infrastructure. And I'm proud to say that we count ourselves in terms of we have 300 successful customers, right? That's the power of Birlasoft. So thank you so much for patiently listening. Just remember the power of zero, power of infinity, and the power of silence, right? Those are the three important words. If you are able to decode that, you will get the answers to what lies in the future. Thank you all.